We're looking at a standard 5.5-foot warrior scaled up against Goliath, who stood over 9 feet tall. His armor weighed 125 pounds. Look at his weapon. The iron spear point weighed 15 pounds, meant to shatter standard shields. For 40 days, the two armies stood frozen on opposite sides of the Valley of Elah. Every morning and every evening, Goliath stepped out to the front lines and demanded a one-on-one battle to decide the war. The Israelites heard the mockery of their God twice a day. The biblical text notes that King Saul and his entire army were dismayed and completely terrified. No one moved. When you measure a threat exclusively by human metrics of height, weight, and metal, complete paralysis is the only logical outcome. Into this stagnant, entrenched military camp walks the youngest of Jesse's 12 sons. David isn't a trained soldier. He's a young shepherd who was sent to the front lines simply to deliver roasted grain, 10 loaves of bread, and cheese to his older brothers. While David is talking with his brothers, Goliath steps out from the Philistine lines to shout his usual defiance. The Israelite soldiers immediately flee in great fear. David stands his ground. While the seasoned soldiers see a champion to be feared, David sees an uncircumcised Philistine who has made the mistake of defying the armies of the living God. He filters the threat through his history of protecting sheep from lions and bears, rather than the metrics of bronze weaponry. He walks straight to King Saul and volunteers to fight the giant himself, breaking a 40-day standoff in a matter of minutes. By evaluating the threat through spiritual conviction rather than military logic, David steps into a valley where an entire professional army was afraid to move. Saul tries to solve the problem using conventional military wisdom. He dresses the teenage shepherd in his own royal tunic, places a bronze helmet on his head, and straps him into a heavy coat of armor. This visual captures the physical reality of that choice. David is immobilized and suffocated. He literally cannot walk because he is unaccustomed to the gear. David makes a radical decision. He strips off the king's armor. He intentionally rejects the absolute best physical protection his entire nation has to offer. Instead, he takes a simple shepherd's staff, his sling, and gathers 5 smooth stones from a nearby stream. Attempting to fight an asymmetric, overwhelming threat using borrowed conventional methods will only weigh you down. It guarantees defeat before the battle even starts. As the two combatants close the distance, Goliath looks down at the boy and is deeply insulted. He asks, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" and curses David by his Philistine gods. David answers by acknowledging the physical reality, then overwriting it. He says, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." David does not wait, hesitate, or take a defensive stance. He runs quickly and directly toward the battle line. Reaching into his bag, he pulls out a single stone and slings it at the giant's exposed forehead. The stone sinks deep into the bone. In seconds, the 9-foot champion falls face down on the dirt. David finishes the giant with Goliath's own sword. When the Philistine army sees their hero dead, they turn and run in absolute terror. This victory wasn't a matter of matching Goliath's strength. It was the result of high-velocity tactical execution fueled by a total reliance on God's power. David survived that day because even though he rejected Saul's bronze, he was actually wearing a different, invisible kind of protection. This diagram visualizes a concept the Apostle Paul laid out centuries later in Ephesians chapter 6, the armor of God. It is the specific defense required to stand against the schemes of the devil. It starts with the foundational pieces. You fasten on the belt of truth, put the breastplate of righteousness in place, and fit your feet with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. Then you take up the active tools, the shield of faith to extinguish flaming arrows, the helmet of salvation, and finally, the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. We face spiritual forces, cosmic powers, and deep-seated anxieties. These are threats that a physical sword cannot reach, requiring a different kind of defense. Think about the personal giant or impossible circumstance that has been paralyzing you with fear. Maybe it's been standing at your front lines for days, months, or even years. Relying purely on exhausting human strength, conventional logic, and sheer willpower will only leave you unable to move. Drop the heavy armor of man. equip the full invisible armor of God and stand firm. To equip yourself for these battles, click the link in the description to get your free 10-day prayer guide and join the Bible Study Tools community. When you rely on God's provision, no valley has to be faced alone. Subscribe for more biblical history and insight, and we'll see you in the next video.